This is another episode of This is JOB, the podcast. Co-host Mason Ho. We are here and we are ready to get in action. Can't wait to talk story with you, brother.
Yeah, always with you, Jimmy.
Hey, you know what's the craziest part is like trying to like lock down Mason, whether it's summer, winter. This guy is the most misto person I know. Why?
No, I don't know. That's funny. I've kind of felt proud right there because somehow everyone's been telling me that lately, and I'm like, I don't feel that misto. I'm always trying to like get out there, but I guess I guess I am because I keep hearing it. So
it's kind of crazy. Like I've never saw you at Foodland, which is our normal like our local store. Do you shop at Foodland?
Well, no, I mean I eat a lot of my food is from Foodland, but it's like I usually I'm a driver to Foodland. I'll drive my fiance there. Yeah. And she'll run in and do a lot of shopping. Do the shopping because sometimes I'm in sometimes I could go in there, I'll muster up the courage, but usually when I do, like before I even go in, I'm talking to like one of my schoolmates' moms for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or like right before I get in, I'm talking to some like one of my aunties and I haven't seen her for so long. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, I miss you. And then she's like, I miss you too. And then all of a sudden we're talking forever. And then I'm like,
and your girl's like, I'm going to go.
Well, she's taking care of, And then I'll usually be like after 10 or 15 minutes with just like my schoolmate's mom or whatever, I'll just be like, okay, bye. Nice to see you. And I'll turn around and see like the local ex-pro that's or whatever not so good or whatever and be like Mace and I'll be like, oh, I miss you too and you're the man, like, oh my god. So I'll be talking to him for 20 minutes, bro. I'm like
it's kind of funny that like they call Foodland Dudeland. So it's like if you ever come to the North Shore and you're like, oh, like, if you want to ever like see a pro surfer potentially, maybe you won't see John, you'll probably see Kelly Slater, but there's these certain people that you'll see there. You probably won't see Mason because he's like, he might be in the parking lot and like somewhere like super dark talking to some auntie or uncle. But Foodland is Dudeland. Like you see everyone and they call it Dudeland because you like walking, you're like kind of forget everyone's name. You're like, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, dude, how's it, dude? Like, it's like Dudeland.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
I mean, I remember I was at John's wedding and it was like part of the speech. Like, when was the last time you saw John at Foodland? I was like, God, really question. Never. Like maybe like once he won though, like Volcom.
I was gonna say, Pro. I remember him in there at the big old shopping cart of alcohol, just celebrating the party. But to be honest, I think I went in there as like with the gang. I think I was a part of the gang, so I was like, But like, it was like premeditated.
But like for me, like I feel like John like teleports around the North Shore. Like you don't even see the guy. Like he'll go.
Nah, you'll see him. You see him ride his bike. I see him like riding his bike sometimes because I'm always out. So, I'll see him riding his bike. We bump into each other. What else? I always see him kind of driving by and I don't even look in everyone's cars. I'm just like, I'll be driving. I'll see him in the periphery. I'll be like, whoa, is that John? What the heck?
I don't know. I don't see him driving, but like I do see him on his e-bike on the North Shore sometimes. But like, probably like 5 times in my life, I've seen him at Foodland.
I think I've seen him recently walking with his Grom.
At Foodland?
No, not at Foodland, but he was walking him, his wife, and his Grom.
Oh, in the stroller?
In the stroller. And I was like, whoa, North Shore family routes. That's the new route. Yeah, right.
And Lauren?
Yeah, they're all walking together. But it was kind of like a rare, like you said, like rare sight. Yeah, it's always when you see John, you're always like, okay, cool. He's home. He's out and about.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you don't even know he's home. You're like, I haven't seen this guy in like
that guy's like, hiding from me, bro.
Yeah. No. I'll like message John, be like, yo, what's up? You want to surf pipe together? And then like nothing. And I'm like, whatever, freaking guy. And then like, boom, Lucas like, Jamie, you want to go surf? I'm like, sick. And then like, boom, I wake up, Mason's down there on the freaking bike path. Like, yeah, boys. And I paddle out. And then
John does have a sneaky paddle out too. Yeah. Cause he has like, the house is like surround. He has pipeline surrounding.
So it's like as far as I could speak for you, is like we paddle out the 50-yard line at pipeline, and John he lives. His mom has a house down there.
He lives in the red zone, the 20-yard line on both sides.
Yeah.
So he'll jump in at the 20-yard. Yeah.
He will. He won't walk all the way up because he don't want to walk by all the people, and then he'll paddle out halfway.
Yeah. And only if he has his gang. Yeah. I've seen him a few times when he's got his gang.
It's Ivan.
He'll walk all the way.
Eli, Koa, John, Nate. That's the gang. They paddle out every time together. It's nuts.
Yeah, right. It's funny. Yeah, sometimes you'll see him. seems like a little bit nowadays, like a little bit, or just this last winter, I've noticed them going out a little like separately. You know, they all had their times.
They're not super like locked in.
Well,
I
think they all have their schedules. Everyone like Eli had a real job this year.
Oh, he's like doing movie productions. Yeah. He's like working on big Hollywood movies.
Yeah, he's going big, and then he was also out there going big. You know, but you could tell his windows was like he was doing the working man windows. You know, and then John strolled up like the King's windows. You know, and then like one of the King's windows, and then. What else? Yeah, his brothers, Nate Dogg, he's just so hungry. He'll go before, you know, and after.
Yeah, Nate's nuts. Like,
and Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan's nuts too.
Keeping up too.
Ivan acts like he's like 50 years old. Like his sonority, or like in the lineup, he's like just trying to whip everything. Like, Ivan, I remember you like in diapers crying, bro. What are you doing, bro?
He's just been looking at that thing for so long. He's
so
like,
hungry.
He's like, mine. Yeah. He's looking at it from a baby. Yeah, now he's like 20, whatever, 7 or whatever. Just mine.
I know. Right? He's like still young. He's just so talented. Like, right. and Nate's like Mr. Cool, and like it makes sense. He drops in the pipeline. He's like super cool, calm, so collective,
smooth, for how deadly. What is he? Yeah, he's just so awesome to see that out of pipe. Yeah, like an attack like that.
It's trippy. Yeah. He's like the little like secret brother that like. I wouldn't even say emerged late. Like he was just like, this guy was like busting like 10-foot airs at the Bonsai skate park, and then just decided, Ivan. And then just decided that he wanted to Secret Service. He decided that he wanted to be like the pipeline like master.
Yeah, No, I agree. I think I don't know exactly. I wish I actually hung out with him a lot more, you know, but yeah, like you said, I go kind of misto on accident, but I just feel like Ivan, it's so sick because I just feel like he like grew up surfing, shrapping surfing, you know, really like top level surfing always from what I've seen. And then his skating was always like top level from what I've seen, like, and then his snowboarding was always like gnarly from what I've seen. So I feel like he was always just keeping everything all tuned up and maxing, you know, but then I think maybe to go to that next level, you have to eventually maybe pick one a little bit, just to put a little, or sacrifice 100%. At least one of them, you know, to focus on two. Yeah. And I think he was like playing with all of them. Yeah. And then all of a sudden was just like, I'm going to ramp up all of them. Or he's like, I'm going to ramp up the surf. Cause I feel recently he stepped up his game.
Huge airs, huge barrels, just like the personality. Like you're like, there's Ivan.
Yeah. Like whether if he wasn't skating or snowboarding, you'd be like, whoa, this is a gnarly surfer, full package surfer.
I think he's like in the industry. Like, I mean, I know we were talking about John and Nate, but like Ivan's kind of like the all around perfect
Secret Service
surfer, snowboarder, skateboarder.
Yeah.
He's gnarly.
Yeah. And he's like an adventurer too.
Yeah.
I know they all are, but like it's pretty cool. Ivan seems like he gets out there, he gets deep, bro.
Speaking about getting deep, so like these guys, sometimes you're like, where are they? Like you're like surfing pipe, back door, it's firing. And they're like, and then you like hear
see
like
in the mountains,
yeah. You like hear a random like story, like, oh yeah, John's like doing something with like his Florence Marine thing, and they're like, they decided to do like a 6 or 8 day hike around freaking Oahu, and I was
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Dude, they're like basically living off the land, hiking.
That's sick.
Yeah. I mean, to some people, you would never catch me like walking more than like a mile. But like the family's just going just beyond.
It's pretty cool. Beyond, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. So they went on they went into the mountains and just did a couple nights, and then
they did more than a couple nights.
Testing the material. What were they testing? The equipment?
I guess so.
Mental.
Yeah, but mental. It became a mental like reality of like how you could actually like pull this off, because it's gnarly. Like,
well, John's gnarly like that too, right? He has some like thrill.
I think he likes it.
He has some thrill, like fucking seeker vibe.
He just disappears.
Sailed to Fiji right over the ocean.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah,
that's.
You know what's funny?
That guy.
He actually invited me. He's like, "Do you want to like sail to?" I forgot. It was like Tahiti or Fiji or something. I was like, I was like,
oh yeah, I did.
I was kind of flattered. I'm like, oh, sick. That sounds super rad. I would love to do that, but I just can't take 3 weeks off of my life because I got to keep putting out videos and vlogs and X, Y, and Z. Like, I I just can't, John, because I gotta like keep doing my thing. Like I want to come hang out and cruise with you and go sail.
That's cool. He asked you.
Super cool. I was blessed to be like invited, but I was at the same time I was like, it's like, I gotta keep putting out content.
Yeah. That's super cool.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's kind of funny. But speaking about Misto, so today you're supposed to show up, and then I'm like I was like, hey Mason, be at the house at 6 o'clock.
Oh man, yeah. Remember? Yeah.
And then I was like 6:20, and I was like, God, I wonder if we understood like the right day, and then I like texted you, and then you like called me right away, and I was like, wait, like, and you started explaining like, hey, like I'm so sorry, and I was driving and an X, Y, and Z, and I started thinking in my mind, I was like, dude, this guy's in like Waikiki right now, and I'm sitting up here, we're like trying to rip the podcast.
I almost was there. No, it was crazy. I was taking pride in like getting here on time for you, because I know it's like, it's you, and we're doing business.
Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Right. We're going business mode. Yeah. So I was just like, okay, respect the business, know, and Jamie's a hardworking guy, and I work hard too. So I was like, let's show him what we got, and so I was like way ahead of time. I'm like, I'm going to show up even like 5 minutes early even so we could talk. And then boom, I just took off on the road, and I'm like driving. I think I was passing Sunset. And then one of my boys called me like, hey, we got you a filmer for Japan. Like whatever. I'm like, whoa, yes. And then, so we started talking about that. I'm like, what's the prices about? What's going on? I usually got my boy Rory. What's like a daily, what? And so, we started talking prices, we're like, going. And then, I just got into it. I'm like, okay, we're locked in. What's going on? Boom. And then before you know it, I'm like, we're like driving. I was looking at Lonnie and Kay. I'm like, oh, what? Where am I going? I was like, why am I? And then before he could hang up, I'm like, hey, it was my friend Chucky. I'm like, hey, Chucky, hold on, where am I going? And then he hung up, and he was saying, hey, I won't say, but I think maybe his kids was snapping at him. Something. Hey, Dad, come here, So he went to hang up the phone, and I couldn't find out where I was going. So I was like, uh-oh. Now I got to find out myself. Where am I going?
You're so just in your car driving somewhere.
Yeah, driving. I'm like, hey, it's not the dump, because I was right almost at the dump. I'm like, I went to the dump earlier. I'm having deja vu. It's not the dump. And I'm like, where am I going? And then I just hear the ding. And I was just like, oh, I'm like, what could this be? And I seen J-O-B on there, and I just seen you asked like, where are you? Or something maybe. And I was just like, oh, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be there. And then I seen I was 20 minutes late. I'm like, no, I was supposed to be early. So I just called. I couldn't even text you. I had to explain, and then thought maybe you'd like it a little bit, but
that's classic.
Yeah, but it was pretty bad. I was like, fuck. I'm like,
first podcast. I was like, where is this guy?
Right. I was trying not to do that.
You're kind of on it, and then until you weren't on it.
Right.
I was like, wait, what?
I know. I threw the hundreds. You're like, what? 6 o'clock. I'm like, hundreds, I'm ready. I'll see you there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm there.
Emojis. I sent him the hundreds.
That's
obvious. 6 o'clock. Come on, bro. I was just sorry.
You're about to drive to Bowls, go surf, night surf.
Dude, I didn't think night surf, but I was literally thinking, am I going Bowls, dump, what? Moms, dads, Mylan? Where am I going?
You're on the road, just going forward.
Yeah, going to OB's.
Yeah, but
turn around.
The traffic was kind of nuts though this afternoon too.
Yeah, no, it's pretty eggy.
It's the craziest.
Unnecessary.
So the craziest thing about nowadays, if you like come to North Shore on like a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever day it is. So in my mind, I don't leave my house to go to Haleiwa after 11 a.m. Like I will not go to Haleiwa until like 4. Or no, actually I wouldn't even go to Haleiwa, and then like at like 7 I'll go to Haleiwa, because like even if you're coming from town, like if you land and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the North Shore today, like when it's dead flat, there's still like an hour and a half of traffic. It's
how crazy
radical.
Is that?
Hey, everyone's like stopping, looking
when
at the
have
turtles.
You said, or when do you think it like picked up in the last 5 years? Really? I mean, it's been picking up every year.
Last 10 years.
10, it's been like.
I remember the only time that it was like the traffic was that bad on the North Shore was like the Eddie Aikau.
Yeah.
That was it.
I remember, you're right, 10 years ago, you're right. It was almost the Eddie was when it'd lock up.
Yeah.
Because the Triple Crown, you'd still be able to sneak through, and like people that weren't into the Triple Crown wouldn't even know it was on. Besides, you'd see the big things. Yeah. But now
you're like tripping. You're like, wait, like it's in the middle of the summer. We're driving down the North Shore and there's an hour of traffic. Like this is.
I think it's been like, I swear it was either right before COVID or right after was when I started noticing like the North Shore traffic. You know, like, because Lonnie's, you're right, 10 years, it's been already 10 years of Lonnie's traffic, Lonnie and Kea. But then it's like, remember once you got through Lonnie's, you were kind of all good, or remember it was only one way, or once you passed it, you're good. But now you're like getting through and you're in Waimea traffic.
Yeah, because of Foodland.
Yeah, and then sometimes now you're in Sunset traffic and Pipeline. You're just like, whoa, and there's no contest. And
so if you come to the North Shore, it's not like when me and Mason were kids back in the day, where there was no traffic, and unless it was like 80 feet on the North Shore, then there'd be some traffic. And like speaking about like growing up, like I remember like, how sick was that? Yeah, it was so sick. I remember like my like some super gnarly like to me like some of my like most cherishable memories of growing up was hanging out with you, Mike, and your sister. I don't even know how we like linked up.
It was that was your godfather.
Oh, Derek Dorner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
linked us.
So Derek Dorner was like Laird Hamilton's right-hand man. If you don't know Laird Hamilton, you better just check the internet real quick. and they made this movie called Strapped. And it was like the pioneer of towing, surfing, of everything. Like if you look at what Kai Lenny's doing right now, he literally took the playbook and went copy, paste, and it was like the perfect storm for Kai.
Yeah. And it's like modern. Yeah.
It's modern day.
I think it was like back then, it was like Jimi Hendrix trying to play in the 40s or the 50s. It was like people were just like, what? Like, or like, you know, like back then it was like, boom, boom, all the people like.
It was just too nuts.
Yeah. It's like someone just getting in there like, it's like, what is this, you know? But then like nowadays you play it and it's just like, oh my God.
So like we started hanging out. I can't even remember. I was probably like freaking like 10, 11. And how
Strapped.
You're probably like 7 or 8 or something. How old are you right now?
35.
35. Oh, so you're probably like, you're like basically like 6 years younger than me.
Yeah.
You know, if I was 10, you're like, or I was 11. I was probably like 11. You're like 6 or 5.
Yeah.
And we'd go up to like Kuhuku track, was like the dirt bike track behind
You're probably 12.
Maybe 12, yeah.
I think you.
And like it was like me, you, Coco hanging out. Like we were just groms.
Coco was super grom. Yeah, she was like 2 or 3 baby. I remember those.
We were all super groms, just like darreling out on the North Shore. Like my dad's like, you need to be home before the sun sets, and I would like ride my bike home as fast as I could. And then I remember.
Did you have a bell and stuff?
No bell.
We had a bell. I heard it from like streets away. Ding, ding, ding. I was like,
I remember just racing the sunset to get home, and but I would go ride bike with you, but then I wouldn't tell my dad that I was riding my bike. I would be like literally like up in the Kuku track in the back of the mountains, like riding my freaking like GT freaking chromed out bike. I'd buy the thing and make the thing chromed out every day. I was so sick. I remember
your bike was mental. I was just like, bro, I need a bike like that. My dad would just go behind Uncle Brian Surratt's house, and like Nainoa and Korea, everyone had their bikes that like would kind of.
They had the sick bikes too.
They had mean bikes, but then their bikes would, once they kind of got a little old or a pop tire, it'd kind of go on the side, and they'd get the
boom, that'd be your bike.
But then my dad would go and take the parts, and he'd like MacGyver me a bike,
Sick.
But I was always like, I want the new bike. I want the freaking everything new. Like, see Jamie's bike? Yeah, this thing's chroming. Like, and is that blue chrome? It's like chrome, but it's blue.
Yeah.
I remember tripping. Like, what the fuck?
You know, it's funny though. Like, I remember one day, like, came up to me, like, Jamie, what's up with the teacher? Bro, I had this conversation. So, like, I went to Cuckoo Elementary. No, I went to
Sunset Elementary.
I went to Sunset Beach Elementary, and I got kicked out of Sunset Beach Elementary when I was in 3rd grade because I got in this like dispute so many times. Apparently it was like 6 or 7 times. I got in these arguments with these people, and like it just the shit hit the fan, and it was bad. You know, it was like
your house is like this far from this elementary school, bro.
Yeah, it was so close. But the best part is like every time, it's not that like I would get my head punched in, and then I would just run home.
Oh no, yeah, you'd have your.
Yeah, I would literally run, and I was a really good runner, and I could run so fast from the bully that I could eventually get away. I had the big talk and the big bark, but then they would just be the big dog, and they would take care of me, and I'd just run home. But like I kind of felt like I got what I wanted in on it, and then and then I'll be scared to see him
safe at home.
Yeah, I would be safe at home until I saw him after school, and they'd be chasing me down. But I was always at the athleticness. I was like, shh, gone.
Get out of there.
Yeah, I was like bullying at its finest on the North Shore, and I was like just tripping.
You were the perfect target. I remember you, because I got bullied too, and I had like, I mean, at least I had like dark hair, and then I could be like, my dad, or whatever. Yeah, you're like blonde. Dude. You had light skin, the light hair. Yeah,
you know, but
your dad was G'd up too, though. He was always in the lifeguard tower. You don't.
He knew all the guys though too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I mean. You couldn't get too messed with.
Yeah, there was this balance, right? And I had to like understand the balance of like, you know, like getting bullied to like to finding my place in the lineup. And I remember one day, like all the uncles from the Dahui, you know, because we used to always go to these meetings, and it was like these cool like country community meetings with the Dahui. Yeah. And I was like the Dahui meeting, and it would happen once a month, and we'd like have these meetings, and it was like super cool, and like all the uncles like to drink the kava, and they were like, oh, we're gonna come drink kava at your house. And like I was like got in some like trouble in the lineup, and then I was like, all right, like I'm a little cocky white kid, like freaking what are you gonna tell me? And then
because you had the kava meetings,
dude, had the kava meeting going on the inside. Guys would chase me up the beach and like be like ready to beat me up, and all the uncles would be like, hey, wait, what's going on? Bro, you ain't touching this kid. He ain't, and they're like, gone.
So funny, huh?
Like dispute.
They didn't know the little blonde kid with the sunburnt skin was at the meeting.
That only lasted so long.
And then you had the confidence too. Yeah. Like,
no, but it's cool.
Which is good.
I think the greatest part about like growing up in Hawaii is like understanding, you know, whether it's the lineup or just the local community, and knowing, you know, your uncles and your aunties and your school
reading
teachers.
the people, huh?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of growing up in Hawaii, and like
fitting in,
being
happy,
exactly,
making good friends.
Making good friends is the best part, because like the toughest parts I went to school in, like my toughest moments, like there was like this thing called Beat Up Howley Day when I went to school.
I remember that.
Like I was like scared to go to school in the last 3 days of school because like they would just
It's when it was.
It's when it was.
Wasn't it at the end? Yeah. Because they didn't care if they got expelled.
They didn't care. It was like any person that they decided to pick on or attack, it was on. And it was like, it was scary going to school. And like I had to go like the school before all the kids went to school. Well, I got a picture. I'm just going to show it right here. Like this is kind of like how I went to school. Like there was like me and like 300 local guys and like 3 little blonde hair, blue guys. Like it was different, you know. Now it's very common, normal. Like,
yeah. There's more. It's all mixed in more, huh?
Yeah, but
I do remember that. I remember my first day to Kahuku, or like my first like, because you know going from Sunset Elementary to Kahuku is pretty big, you know, because Kahuku is kind of nuts. It's like maybe 15 minutes away from Pipe, 20 minutes only towards the east side. Yeah, but it's like at Sunset Elementary, it was like so mellow. All like you said, it's all kind of less.
It was all the white kids, mostly
the light skin,
80% light skin,
or the half like, or just the local like Hapa, a lot of Hapa kids, but no like not as many Tongans and Samoans and
Hawaiians and everybody.
You're right. Even the Hawaiians, over at Kuka, there's more. But then isn't it like, it's crazy how when you go over there from Sunset, you're right, it turns into like there's only a handful of you guys, or like us, the light skin kids, you know, and surfer kids. And then I think when we're surfers, we get to go to all the kids contests, you know, so we get all the goodie bags and stuff, and you know, the big backpacks. Remember you and me, we'd always have like a nice backpack. Everyone would like pick on us and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
They just see right through it.
Right. I remember one time, or I remember my first day of school, I remember getting there and just being like, whoa, this is nuts. And then I just remember all the new kids, all the bigger kids and everyone. I was just like, whoa, this is like scary. And then all of a sudden I seen you by the cafeteria or something. And I was like, whoa, that's Jamie O'Brien. And I was like, oh, it can't be too bad. You know, Jamie's here. Like, and like you said, I think you left Sunset Elementary early so I never knew that. So I did Sunset Elementary and never seen you. Yeah. So I was just baffled. I was going to school with you. I was like, whoa, this is the sickest. I'm like, I need to let him know I'm here so he can protect me if he has any sort of protection. And then I went over and checked you out. I'm like, what's up, Jamie? I was like, hey, what's up? And you're like, oh, Mason, what's up, man? And I think you had like your friends and they were like cooler, older kids, you know, and even you had some chicks or something. And I was just like, whoa. And you're like, what's up? You're like, this Mason, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I think you even said, right, we surf together. And I was like, oh, no, we don't. Because we did before, you know, but you made it like we do it all the time. Kind of like what a Grom would dream of, you know? And you're like, this is Mason, we surf together, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I just remember like, we kind of said, what's up? And then I like walked away for a second. And then you like came up to me. You're like, what's up, Mason? I'm like, what's up? And you're like, bro, it's a mean bracelet you're wearing. Cause I had like somehow I had my grandpa's gold bracelet.
No way.
Like a gold one. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, it's sick. And you're like, yeah, it's a mean bracelet you're wearing. You're like, can I borrow it? And I was just like, oh, and literally I was like, my mom, literally, I was just thinking, I wanted to tell you, because you're just the God surf. Grom's fucking dream, you know? And then I was like, I can't do it though, because my mom literally told me, hey, kids are going to ask you today in school, can I wear it? Can I try it on? Can I borrow it? Can I? And they're like, don't. She said, do not give this bracelet to anyone's. This is gold, 24 karat gold.
Like, I was like the first guy, like, can I get that?
First guy, first thing. It was the second. It wasn't even the school started yet. I don't even think. You're like, hey, can I borrow that thing? And I'm like, and I think I was like, yep. I'm like, you can. And then I took it off and gave it to you and you put it on. It wasn't like the first day of school, but it was like the first day I seen you and stuff. And it was the first day I wore it. And I just remember I was like, this is heavy, but it's Jamie. So I took it off. Boom, here you go. Because I knew, Jamie's a surfer. Like, if worse comes to worse, I'm going to tell my dad. so I'm like, it's all good. Like, it's Jamie, you know? So I'm like, but I asked you, hey, my mom told me I can't give this to anyone. You're like, minor. You're like, give me that minor. I'm going to give it back to you. You're like, I'm just going to borrow it. I'll give it back to you at lunch. I'm like, okay, minor. Boom, gave it to you. And then boom, school went. Recess came. I couldn't really find you at recess. Right there, lunch came. Boom, I learned whole intermediate lunch is different from the high school.
I was bawling all day.
You just went, I was like looking for him. Where's high school? Where's Jamie? All of a sudden, finally, one kid's like, Jamie don't come out till one more hour. Like, and you're gonna be back in class. And I'm like, he's going home. I'm gonna have to go home with no bracelet. My mom's gonna whoop my ass. And then I think I pulled it, went home, hid, surfed all day, came back. I'm like, hey, tomorrow I'm finding that guy. I know right where he hangs, the cafeteria on the corner with his gang. Yeah. And then boom, I showed up in the morning. You weren't there, but all your gang was there. I'm just like, hey, you guys know where Jamie is? And they're like, bro, we don't know where Jamie is. I'm like, oh shit. And I start looking, and then boom, another day. I think the day was going by, and then somehow, I just remember like, I don't even know if I asked to use the bathroom. I think I even asked to use the bathroom during lunch. It was high school lunch. I already knew, can I use the bathroom? I ran right to your spot. You were right there with the bracelet. I'm just like, Jamie, you're like, oh shit. Like,
your bracelet.
Yeah, no. You're like, just give me one more day. One more. And I'm like, and I just knew, I'm like, my mom told me I cannot. And you're like, no, I know, minor, but you pulled it yesterday, so one more day. And I'm like, to be honest, my dad said he's fucking looking for that thing. And you're like, oh, what, bro? And you took the thing off. I swear. You took the thing off. You're like, bro, I shouldn't have got dad involved fucking here, bro. Here's your bracelet. And I was like, wait, so, and I just remember you gave me the bracelet. Thanks, bro. Fuck whatever. Boom, boom. And I just remember I put back on the bracelet. I'm like, hey, wait, did I get the cool points? or did I lose them all by telling him that I told my dad? But I never told dad. Yeah, it was just a front to try to get it.
It's good. It worked.
It worked. Yeah.
You know, but the craziest thing, so I remember you like coming to me like later and you're like, oh, Jamie, like, I was like, I think you're like talking to your teacher at the time, like, oh, I want to be like Jamie, like a pro surfer, X, Y, and Z. And like, I remember being in school and like the teachers would be like, oh, like, they're like, oh, you need to write about a current event that you're like very into, that you'd like to make it your job one day. And I was like, I want to do surfing, but this surfing is not a job.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean?
Exactly what it was.
Yeah. I was like,
I remember it.
It's not a job. Like surfing to me is a job. Like, this is it. Like, and like, yeah, I get it. Maybe it's like, it is a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
But like, to me, I had the vision. This is what I want to do. And I went and pursued it and was consistent on it. And I remember this day, clear as day, like 5 or 6 years after I was doing my thing.
Yeah.
I remember Mason coming up to me like, how's this one, Jamie? I told my teacher I wanted to be a professional surfer like J.O.B. And she told me that.
I didn't even, he just picked you out. I didn't even say that. It was economics class. It was, I remember it perfect too. Like, it was like, he knew, you must have already left some burn on him, bro. Cause I came in there and didn't even know, but he must have just seen like another version, you know? Cause I just remember it was economics class and the guy was like, okay, everyone pick your profession. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, what you want really, but just let's pick one. We gotta, you know, it's school, it's exercise, the brain. And I'm like, okay, it's cool. I love exercising the brain. Economics, heck yeah, I think I'm gonna need this in life. And I'm looking at, he put all these like jobs up there. And I just remember I'm like, okay, there's never surfing on any of these exercises, but I always kind of find a way to sneak it in there.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like looking, okay, I can't, no, that doesn't relate surfing, where's the other, where's like swimming, where's anything? Like I'm like looking, it's not, there's just the NFL, the NBA, or the teacher, doctor, just football, like football,
basketball.
Just if you want to be an athlete, there's those, or there's like,
surfing just didn't exist.
Yeah, it wasn't in there at all or nothing, you know, even relatable. So I was just like, okay, I think I'm gonna, and then everyone's picking their thing. And I'm like, finally, I'm like one of the last people and they're like, oh, Mason. And I'm like, to be honest, I don't see what I know I'm going to be when I'm in the future, but I see artist and I'll pick artist, you know? And he's like, well, what kind of artist? You painting or what you doing? You know, like we got to exercise more. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm an artist. Like I'm a surfer. I want to surf, you know, like I'm a surfer.
Yeah.
I think. And he's like, whoa, he's like, surfing, I know we're in Hawaii. It's like, everyone loves surfing, you know, there is some money to be made from surfing, but you can't, in this exercise, you can't pick surfer. You can't be a surfer. Yep. It's not a profession. People don't make money from surfing to actually live and buy a house and live, you know? And I told him, whoa, you can't say that. Now I think I got like offended because I was like, whoa, my dad's a surfer and my uncle's a surfer. And I told him that, hey, my dad and my uncle's a surfer and they make money from surfing. And then he told me, hey, we know you think you're special, you know, like, we know you think you're special. He like flipped it on me, you know, and was like, we know you think you're special and you're lucky to have parents that are athletes, you know, professional, you know, but all these kids, they don't, you know, and it's not a common thing. And I think your dad and your uncle hit the lottery and they got really lucky. And just someone like you, there's a chance you could be a pro surfer, but hey, what happens if you get hurt? What happens if you break your leg tomorrow? What happens if the surfing's not in this exercise? And I was kind of getting offended. And then so I just remember I kept like tagging him with some surf because I was like, hey, you say surfing's not a professional. I'm in here right now and I don't know how many of these kids I told him, you're trying to pick on me about being special. And I was like, how's this one? And I was like, and I just told him, I'm getting paid. Or I told him, I'm getting paid right now as a surfer right now. And I was like, I don't know what you're making. I'm pretty sure it's like roughly 40 or 50 or 60 grand a year. But I'm almost like getting that. Yeah. And I'm a kid. And
you're like 15 years old.
No, I was 15. And I kind of started putting some numbers up there, like legit numbers. I think I hit close to his salary, you know? And I told him mine, you know, I'm like, I'm coming up on you and I'm 15. Like, you're telling me surfing's not a job? Like,
he's like 35.
Yeah. So he started getting really like kind of bummed. And then he didn't tell me the Jamie thing that day, but I remember he was eggy and he talked to me. He's like, hey, no more going back and forth with me. Like, cause I'm the teacher, you know, after class, you know, I stayed. So I'm like, okay, no worries, Mr. Clifford. That's his name. I remember. Yeah, I'm like, I like you. He is actually cool, you know, but I'm like, sometimes we get into it, you know? Yeah. So then one day later, I think a test came and I didn't really study too good for it. So I just came out, I went outside for it. Yeah. And I had a $50 like a $50 bill on me. And I was like, oh, am I going to fail? I'm like, oh no, plan Z. I got a $50 bill on me. Maybe the guy will take it, you know? Yeah. Like, so I just told him like, I'm like, hey, Mr. Clifford. He's like, oh, okay. So what's this? What's that? And I'm like, oh, to be honest, I don't really know, but I do have $50 cash. And then I like looked at him like, and he's just like, he kind of like smirked a little bit, but he's like, Mason. And he's like, that's bribery. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I know I heard about it. I've heard of that, but I've never done it before. Really I'm like, I've never done it, but I'm like, it's just, I have no other choice and I really want to pass, you know, and I'm just so sorry. And I was like, he's like, you know what? He's like, you don't want to be like Jamie O'Brien. Or he told me like I must have did, or he just told, I just remember when I tried to bribe him, he was just like, like, you don't want to be like Jamie O'Brien or something. And I was like, but I remember I was like, whoa. Cause I was like, kind of like, that is kind of what I'm shooting for. Cause like now that you mentioned Jamie, yeah, like he's cool. He's cool in school. He's he's got all the cool stuff. You know, he's got all the gear. He's got everything I want. And he's surfing. You're on the cover of, there's a few mags. I remember going to school with magazine covers with you on top of them. Yeah. And I was like psyching. So I was just like, wait, when he said that, I was like, wait, that's exactly what I'm kind of shooting for. Like, is this going to be another debate? You know? But instead I just was like, okay, just got kind of bit my tongue. I was like, okay. But then I told myself, oh, I'm telling Jamie about it right when I see him. I'm going to find him. You told me. No, I know. I wanted to tell you just so you know, like, hey, there's guys out there doubting us, bad. Here's some fuel. Because I was getting all fueled up and I knew you'd get all fueled up.
No, you told me and I was like, oh, yeah? Yeah. And then every time I drive by Cuckoo High School, now I'm like, haters. No, I'm over it. I'm over the teachers and then the whole trip. Like I'm sure like everyone's different.
Everyone's
like,
nice. Yeah, everything's but
like
now,
I just remember like they just told me that surfing wasn't a career. Surfing.
They're over the surfing thing. I think we were a little like
they were.
They're over push person. Now there's like you see now at Cuckoo, there's like a surf school or a surf team.
There's a surf team.
The kid kills it and the Uncle Liam helps fund it. Yeah. The one guy helps run it.
Yeah. Liam McNamara helps fund it with the North Shore Surf Shop, which is really rad and cool. I've done some fundraisers with the Cuckoo Surf team as well with our surf school.
No way.
But like at the end of the day, it's crazy because like every other like state or different county in California
has it in school, right?
Yeah, no? It's in school.
That's true.
And they support
surf class, yeah.
Yeah.
I always was jealous of that.
Me too. So it's like, you know, it's like Huntington Beach and X, Y, and Z. They have this like surf academy. In Hawaii, we don't have this. So we have to raise money through local surf shops and local companies and X, Y, and Z to raise enough money for our Cuckoo surf team or X, Y, and Z.
To go travel and represent.
To where hopefully one day, you know, it's like, why is Hawaii? Why is Hawaii the birthplace of surfing and we're still at ground zero? Like
for surfing in the schools and whatnot, right? Yeah, that's a good subject right there.
I don't know. It's interesting to say the least.
Could go deep, huh? Probably. Because I wonder how it works with like the time and the safety and everything, you know, because it seems like maybe there's a little more order or something in California or the mainland or these places that has it. Because it's almost like we don't have it completely in order or something as far as like the school, you know, the school.
I think our schooling system's not up to par. I'm sorry.
What?
But we did fine. We went, Pipeline University, yeah.
Yeah, that one got us through, huh? Barely.
Yeah. We were like in our master's degree at Pipeline. People always go, sick. Did you graduate college? I go, yeah, the Pipeline University.
Tell them I'm a marine biologist.
I got my Pipeline master's at Pipeline.
Right. What's the one that studies rocks and stuff? Yeah, there's I want to be one of those. Some weird rockyologist or something. Geologist,
yeah.
I heard that one before. I was like, ooh, I almost put that on my custom forms one time, or my customs form. Like, I don't want no, you know, sometimes it's like occupation. You put surfer. Yeah, right.
I don't put surfer. Never.
I used to put student till I started.
I put lifeguard. That's what just because my dad was a lifeguard, and I was like, oh, it's not very controversy. Like I'm like trying to do a good thing.
Well, we do guard. We shouldn't even talk about this because this is gonna get us in trouble.
But a lot of the places I go, right? They're like, what do you do? Because if you tell me you're a pro surfer and you're like flying into like this country or
bags.
Yeah, exactly. Open your bags, and they're gonna try and figure everything out. And like, oh, you're coming here for work, X, Y, and Z. And I tell the filmers, I'm like, hey, you're a student. And you're traveling you're just traveling as a student.
I said student my whole life until one guy, I didn't even think about it. I just said student my whole life. I didn't even think about it until one day the guy's like, student? And I'm like, yeah, yes, sir. And then he just goes, what college do you go to? And I just told him, I was like, I don't even know any colleges' names, you know? I was just like, I'm like, Hawaii University. Hawaii University. I don't even know if that is one. HU. Yeah, I was just like Hawaii University. I told him Hawaii University, and he's like, and he kind of like, I think he asked me one more, but it was kind of a while ago, and I remember I barely came up with one, and I just told myself, bah, not a student anymore.
You're a lifeguard.
I'm a lifeguard now. And it took me a while. I was actually thinking, what's the cool one that the customs, you got to put something that they think you're like, this guy's cool, you know? But I knew I couldn't put doctor because that's cool too. Like, but I was like, hey, lifeguard, I saved lives. They'll be like, lifeguard, what kind? What do you mean? Pool, ocean, what? But then if there's a surf spot, I tell them, lifeguard. If there's a wave breaking on a dangerous surface.
I mean, we are lifeguards.
No, yeah. I'm like, I am there to patrol. And if someone, usually I'm out there showing off. And if someone tries to come and show off, I usually have to save them because they hit their head on the reef.
Yeah. No, we are lifeguards like that. And that's the cool thing about like us being pro surfers and like just, you know, it's not about being a pro surfer. It's just about understanding how Mother Nature works and rolls and like knowing that we can be a first responder and like we will be there. Like if you're in the lineup and something happens, and
you got to be willing to like sacrifice your own life 100%. To save, and which you and me will do in a millisecond.
I think like, if I saw something bad happen in a pipeline and I was like, oh my God, this person's like in a heavy situation, I will go there and put myself in just the heavy situation in a just millisecond, to go. Right? It's just
for
like
a stranger, for they could be body surfing, it doesn't matter. Boogie boarding, skimboarding, surfing, whatever, and we're gonna be there.
I see people take wipeouts at pipeline. I'm like, oh my God, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Even though I'm terrified, but I'm going.
You know what? I think we're super lucky. We have like as surfers, I think a lot of surfers have this mentality. You know, you see a lot of guys just going in to save these people in critical situations. And I swear it's because like the history of surfing has a lot of really special people. Like even, you know, Eddie Aikau.
Yeah. 100%.
That's like, he was, the famous story is how he like jumped off the boat to save his buddy, his family, his friends, and
he was
his
like
crew.
X amount of miles offshore. And he's like, hey, I can still see the island.
No brainer. Yeah.
I'm going to go paddle to wherever I need to paddle to and go find help. And he was never found because he was that person that did it. The cost of
I think everyone was ready, saving. But he's just like,
and he was like, I could save us all. Like he had this in his mind, you know, that like it didn't matter what it took. He saw the island. He knew he could do it. And
it's crazy. He didn't even like think. I don't even think he thought twice. Like he was just like kind of what you said. He's right when he seen they weren't gonna make it or it was gonna get a little tough. He's like, you know what? I think I'm a little tougher than. I could be tougher than the situation at this moment. I'm swimming there and I'm going to save everyone. Yeah. And I don't care what happens to myself.
Yeah, totally.
And that's kind of what I feel like a lot of surfers do when we see someone slam the reef or do that. You know, you're just instantly like, boom. Like, I don't care if I get my face slammed too. I'm going to help because it's
almost, I feel like sometimes when you get like slammed on the reef, like one of my first instincts I was like, maybe Mason or like, I don't know who, like someone in the lineup's going to save me. Like that's my first, like, bam, I hit my head or
slam.
Something happens. I instantly think someone's going to help me.
The people you've seen or just seen or
because that's how I think. If someone gets hurt at pipeline or they're in a dangerous spot, I'm like, I want to help them. I'm there. I'm their guy.
It's gnarly to think when you're still getting slammed. Like,
right when I get slammed.
Or right when you get slammed, to think that's pretty nuts.
It's scary, you know? It's scary.
Do you think of any little, like, is there any little tricks that you think of when you're getting like lit up to the maximum?
No, I'm just scared. Honestly, the more older I get, the more scared I am to surf pipeline. I'm just saying, I'm so like overwhelmed already.
More aware of your surroundings.
Because I've almost died multiple times there. I broke both my legs out surfing pipeline and backdoor. I've got knocked unconscious. Like I've seen friends almost die. I've seen people I know die at pipeline. And it's like it's humbling, and I don't want to be that person. I'm like, frick, I feel so happy to make it to where I am now, and like. But I'm like, you know, like the likes of your father and Derek Ho and like, and other, you know, legends and Tamayo Perry. And these guys are like, they're still older than us. They're still doing it.
With the mother.
It's pretty awesome.
You're going to be doing that forever, I feel like.
I know it's scary, but I love it. That's why I started wearing a helmet. I was like, you know what? Just like, I feel like at this age, I'm like, you know what? have nothing more to prove. I want to get big barrels. I want to share good moments. And like now I feel like it's just coining my golden ages where it's like, I'm not worried about getting wave of the winter. Like if it happens, it happens. But like, I'm out there just having fun. I want to get freaking the most baddest ass wave that comes through pipeline. But like, if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. You're just trying, it sounds like you're just like, you've gained a lot of, like, you've learned a lot about pipeline. You've gained a lot of respect, or now you're acknowledging the respect you've always had for it. And it's almost like the helmet and the floats or anything is like helping you keep that Grom state and like attack safely. Attack like how you have your whole life, but in a little bit more safer way. Yeah. Because you're just a little bit more aware nowadays. Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, I look at pipeline now. It's like, I'm like, I still want the biggest and baddest wave when it comes to me. And I want X, Y, and Z. Yeah. But I also want to see my friends get waves. I also want to, see you on the best wave of your life. I want to see you achieve your goals. Like for me, I achieved a lot of the goals I ever wanted to.
So you're almost putting the gas off?
No, but like, get one more? I'll give you one more, couple more. No, I got plenty more.
Even just one from you, Jamie, will be sick.
Yeah, no, but I just think that like, surfing pipeline and the longevity of it, to me, it means everything to be a part of, this generation that was above me. And that's why I collect surfboards. That's why I have your dad's board, your uncle's board, and Ronnie Burns' board, Irons. Mark Foos, Irons, all of them, Archibald. Like I surf pipeline because of these people that inspired and paved the way. Yeah. And that's what I love to do. And, honestly, like, having you part of the podcast, like, whoops.
Yeah. Caught a big wave.
Yeah, you. But like a part of having you a part of the podcast, I was like, when we were hanging up this board on the wall, I was like, I'm going to keep that board forever. Like, that was my mind. That was like in my mind. I was like, that board.
Mine now, yeah. Guy got me. Yeah.
How'd you break that board?
That one was, I found out it was at the sandbar. Yeah. It wasn't at the secret spot I told you, so I don't have to lie on podcast.
Well, it's broken in two spots. So you snap it straight in the middle and there's another buckle in the middle.
Yeah. So, I think the lip might have just was the lip that thick or something? I've still been trying to figure that out, but it was like it was a super thick sandbar wave. And it was like kind of a dumb wave because it was like for sure going to be a closeout. But those ones that are just so big and kind of so pretty and thick and like glassy that you have to be a part of it.
Well, it's like it's one of those, it's an unknown factor of like, if you don't go, then you'll never know. But if you make that wave that you don't think you're going to make, that's going to be the best wave of your life.
Exactly.
So maybe something like that happened there.
Exactly. And I was super bummed because I only surfed that board 3 times and that was actually a really good board. I remember the first time I surfed on it, I didn't really expect much and and it just went super good. So I was like, I got a good one. And then the next session was really good again. So I was like, okay, now I know it's a good one. Yeah. And then I think one day I was driving past the sandbar where I broke it and I had it in the car. And I just remember there was bad traffic to go back home to grab my board and come back. So I was like, you know what? I'll go out there and try and just be on my game. Like no dumb closeouts. But yeah, like my second, I think I got one really good wave too. My first wave was like one of my best sandbar waves this winter. And then, it was like just a nice blowout, like big right. And I think I paddled right out and got it. So I was like, yes. And then my next wave, boom, broke it on another. And I was just like, whoa, wait, what? That's not cool. So I had to drive home anyway, grab my board, come back.
It was kind of funny. So like I went to Mason's house the other day and I was like, hey, like we're gonna do this podcast thing. We get a board. He's like, I got a couple boards. And I looked at this the couple boards and then this one was like, I like the colors better, but then the other one was like more perfect. Like if I ever wanted to fix it or like, that would hang it. The thing is like way more cripper. But then I really liked the just everything about this board. I was like, oh, that's super sick. And then I didn't know how it was going to fit on the wall because I kind of just like rigged it up pretty weird. Just like the board behind me.
Man. I like that one. Didn't you explain that to me? Our first one? Where'd you do that?
I broke that at a secret spot.
Yeah, I think you did tell me a little bit.
That thing busted my stick. That thing's like a 5'10" or 5'11".
Looks good. I like the swallowtail.
I was so bummed. That thing wasn't supposed to break, and then it broke. And I I was super bummed. But I just thought like the character of like having these boards and like having like some part of this podcast that besides ourselves and our humanly bodies that went through something, like this is like basically the equivalent of like what we go through, but our boards snap. You know, like we're like lucky that we don't snap. Sometimes we break our legs, or like you broke a bone or anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, I broke both my legs surfing pipeline. It sucks.
I haven't done that, dude, out there. Holy
it's scary, bro.
My neck's a little busted, broken right now.
But yeah, it's just cool to have some like character on the walls of like kind of
see
like
what the waves do, to some objects.
They break it's like this relationship that you have with these surfboards, and then the waves just break them, and then it just breaks that relationship. It's so sad. Yeah.
You like fall in love with them. Like even this one, I was like, luckily I didn't get too attached, but
only 2 sessions in.
3.
Three.
But yeah, technically only 2 real ones because that was only 2 waves.
We got one perfect one.
One perfect one.
Yeah.
And actually the first session I had a few really nice ones.
I got a perfect one on this one.
Yeah.
That
kind
of
makes it feel a little better. Right?
No, for sure. I'm like this. I hung this board in the back here, and I'm like, if I'm just saying, if you're like watching this podcast, you're like, whatever, like. If you have like this board that your first broken board, you have to save it. Like, cause like there's going to be a good story, good memories, good X, good Y's, good Z's. Like, it's just like, it's kind of sick.
I get super happy when I break a board on a trip.
What about your shaper?
Here at home, I get bummed. Matt, I wonder what he thinks when I break boards. I don't know what he thinks. I try not to think about that. Because I think I ruin a lot of boards.
Yeah.
But when I ruin
you surf a lot of weird ways. You're like hopping over like rocks and coral heads. And
right. And if I just see a stick or something, sometimes I just want to just shove that board right into the stick, like for some reason. But then I'll just want to fix it and just shove it in there again. Or you
just leave the stick in there and just fix it.
Yeah. I kind of love like trying to destroy boards, but not really destroying them.
Yeah.
And then if I do kind of destroy them, I patch them up a little bit just to destroy them more. And then I don't feel as bad.
Yeah.
I usually don't try and like destroy a board though until it gets naturally destroyed. You know, I don't purposely ruin a board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll like just get a board, try to treat it as nice as I can, like something I love. But then usually, you know, when you love something and you work with it so hard, you're just going to beat it up anyway.
Yeah, totally.
So eventually once it hits like a certain beat up moment or a beat up whatever time, I'm just like, okay, you're going to heaven now. And then I just keep sending it up there and bringing it back.
Yeah. So I guess before we wrap up the podcast, I want to talk to you a little bit about your movie that you just released with Sheldon and Scotland. Insane. Love it.
Classic. Love it. The Cave Heart.
Yeah, The Cave Heart. If you don't know, please go watch The Cave Heart.
I love it.
Mason Ho, Sheldon.
Heart. The surf movie.
The surf movie, yeah.
Cave Heart, yeah. Because we wanted just to call it Cave Heart, you know, like because it's kind of it's like a copy, or like we're trying to mock or tease or copy, not tease, but like we're trying to mock the Braveheart
of surfing,
yeah. But it was like Braveheart, but then so I was gonna put Cave Heart, but then I was like, oh, we're not nearly as gnarly as Braveheart, and Mel Gibson and the whole deal. We can't just call it Cave Heart. So it's like we have to put the like, we're just kind of joking here, you know, like Cave Heart, the surf movie. Yeah. So
how cold was it? What was the water? 38, 40?
I think, to be honest, it might have been lower than
almost freezing.
Yeah, because we went to like or during that time, it's like the coldest. Yeah, it's not like before the time, and it's not in the pit. It's not like in the middle of the time.
You're like surfing like December, January, like the biggest storms of the year.
Yeah, I think that all gets super cold, but then once all the water finally comes in, and then the weather keeps howling it in there, and it keeps it in there, it almost gets, some of the times they say it's colder. Like you'll see snow in some places where you're like, sick, we're surfing, there's some snow.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah,
it's like super cool.
That's how cool it is.
Right? But then all of a sudden, sometimes like you'll just see there's no snow, but you're just like, why is it colder? You know? And then some of the locals will say, hey, like, the snow is actually, it's warmer. Sometimes we know it's warmer when there's snow, but
sometimes the water's colder than the air.
Yeah.
You know,
once like it's gone, I don't know if I'm maybe explaining it right, but That was ice cold.
It kind of looks like one of the, I mean, I'm sure when it's this cold, it's so cold that's even hard to like bite the GoPro in your mouth. It's hard to like, it's hard to function.
And
in
with
so
the
many,
hood, it's like pushing, so you don't even know you got, it's like.
I always take the hood off. Like what I surfed in Japan, I surfed in Alaska. I just take the hood off. I just can't do it. I'm like down to like suffer with like the heaviest like ice cream.
Yeah. Dude, I did Alaska in the glaciers, crawling through the glaciers.
Yeah.
And what you did too, I was like
taking the hood off. Yeah.
I was doing that.
We can't do the hood because we're like from Hawaii. It's just
gnarly. But there, somehow I never took the hood off.
Yeah, so it's like that cold.
Awkwardly cold. Yeah. It's like as soon as you take the hood off, you gotta get in or you go in. You know, like because even when I come in sometimes, because my ear, everything's just so eggy. Yeah, like you said, it's just. But that's gnarly. It's
kind of crazy though. Like I feel like a lot of people probably come up to you, like they come up to me like, oh, like. It's not even cold here in Hawaii. Like when we're saying it's cold, like, dude, don't worry. I've surfed very cold water. Like, and they're like, where have you surfed? You're like, oh, I've surfed Scotland, freaking Alaska, X, Y. And they're all, okay, you get it. You get it.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah.
You know, like I'm surfing during snowstorms. Like
Alaska will get them. Huh?
Yeah. Alaska hits home.
They'll just be, oh, okay. When you're crawling through the ice cubes, that's all. I always thought that was like the nutsest cold thing, you know, until. It gets more nuts.
Hey, I was just in Alaska and I was like flying in to like where we were going. I was like taking pictures out the window and I was like, I showed the guide. I'm like, hey, like check this out. I saw like a super mental white boat like in the lake and the glacier water.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's a iceberg. I was like, wait, what? Like, and that's like where I was surfing. The equivalent of how cold the water was is there was icebergs and it was like there was glacier melt off and like.
I love that.
It was like
me psyched.
It sucks, but it keeps you psyched, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was super fun being over there and filming that. And then even bringing Sheldon just because like, you know, Sheldon's from the west side and it's all hot. It's like extra hot over there.
It's like 10 degrees hotter on the west side than it is on the north shore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be super funny to bring him over there because like, he always, I mean, his reactions are always a little funny. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
next level.
Right. So I wanted to see him like freeze his ass off and I wanted to just capture his reaction or just like see it and witness it. And then also the place kind of is like where he lives too. Like the coast.
Very similar. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So I was kind of like, oh, this might be like a little match made in heaven and hell, or it could be perfectly funny and like easy to get work done, you know.
The waves look exactly the same. I was like, oh, you guys just hit home. Like,
pretty similar, yeah.
100%. I was like, whoa, this is like nuts, but like it's still just you two.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I definitely watched the video. I'm like, I want to go surf. That looks sick.
Classic,
that looks fun. Yeah, looks fun. Looks nuts, and just enjoying.
It's a fun area.
But that's the best thing in the world, right? Is surfing with just you and a buddy out with no one around. Like that's as good as surfing actually gets.
That's what we live for, right?
That's exactly what we live for.
You and probably every surfer out there, huh?
Yep. Very few moments we've ever surfed those moments. Just a few of us out in Hawaii.
So rare, right?
You got to take those moments and take them in and sometimes you get to capture them and it's so cold. No one even wants to go there.
I know, huh? Yes. Nana.
But we're going to end it here. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast. Appreciate it. Woo. Co-host Mason and psyching for the dream.
Yeah,
appreciate
Jamie,
you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, much love. And don't forget, click the link right here to subscribe and watch more videos. We're going to be dropping podcasts every month. Whatever date it drops is probably consistency of the day. We'll figure it out, whatever it is. Love you, bro.
Love you, bro.
Till the next one. Peace and love.
Little splash for Uncle. Boom. Woo. Sorry, Jamie.
We're out. Checking out. Aloha.